Meanwhile, over on table 26, one of the closest to our commentary position, the veteran Tommy Donlan, who played in the Mosconi Cup many moons back. I was just watching a couple of racks he played against John Morra, and I'll tell you what, Tommy Donlan has still got it. He leads 7-4. It might well have been a bigger lead. In one of the racks I saw, he cleared the table very proficiently, only to drop short of position on a 9-ball, left a tough one and missed it. Even so, 7-4 ahead. Oliver Sholnocki, former World 9-Ball Championship semi-finalist. He's 4-3 up on Bui Truong An. And things are improving for Duong Kwok Hwang. 8-5 up on Petri Makinen. And I can tell you, Jason Shaw has just moved to the hill against Bessos Bahiu. 8-7 for the European Mosconi Cup captain over in Orlando, Florida. That event, November 30 to December 3. Tickets went on sale yesterday, and boy, you needed to be quick to get them. Literally a handful remain. It's that simple. Such a popular event, and going to the Sunshine State seems to have made it even more popular. It should be something to behold. This is the seating plan at the Mosconi. Lots of VIP seats, of course. Everywhere you are in that arena, it's going to be a fantastic view. And I can tell you, the Carib Royal Resort is world class. It's a beautiful place, terrifically located, very close to Hawks Landing Golf Club, if I recall correctly. And all of the attractions, Disney World, Universal Studios, SeaWorld within a short drive. So we're diving into match 3. Anton Raga, always good value against Alvin Anggito. And talking of good value, just joining me in the commentary box, it's the one and only JJ.
Well, thanks, Phil. And looking to get a look at this kid from Indonesia who's already had a nice win. Of course, Anton Raga, always fun to watch, and he's made a name for himself in the pool world the last few years. Big match here for both these guys.
Yeah, Raga gets to break. What I like about Raga is he breaks off very well there. If that's the sign of things to come, he could be dominant. What I like about Raga, he's a bundle of energy, isn't he?
Yeah, he's really fun to watch. And again, you can tell a little nervous on edge, but plays into it and doesn't mind it, it seems, which makes it even more fun, I think. Pretty handy here on the 2 to start, though. It's close to it, not a whole lot of angle, but should be able to stun across. Sometimes Remember if you just saw it, Phil, but that long 3-ball he potted and went all the way around the table, got dead straight on the pink 4. I think if he gets any angle there, he's the title holder there in Germany instead of maybe David Alcady.
And this is after some stellar pool. In the quarterfinals, he beat Wojciech Szewczyk. In the semi-finals, he overcame Joshua Filler, 11-9.
Yeah, it's amazing that Josh, who talk about, didn't have those wins in the big open events last year, but seems like he was in the mix, but still had to be a wild card on that Team Europe for the Mosconi Cup.
Yeah, I don't think there was much debate though when they were making the selection, was there? Anton Raga breaks and runs the first rack. You can't do any better than that. Yeah. He's not been firing on all cylinders here. He beat Win Hai Dang 9-5 in the first round, then Karl Naderberg 9-6 in his second match. Alvin Anggito from Indonesia, he was 24 earlier this week, celebrated his birthday. He had 2 comfortable wins over Thomas Jedlicki and our own Carl Boys. Raga is 39th in the World 9-Ball Tour rankings. Alvin Anggito, number 127, and of course, only the top 100 are guaranteed to be in the World 9-Ball Championship in Saudi Arabia at the start of June. So a deep run for him here would work wonders.
Yeah, we'll have to get our numbers, guys and ladies, crunching a few, because I think there are going to be some that are right on the cusp with some important matches. And speaking of the Mosconi Cup, Skylar Woodward trails 8-7 to Dimitris Lukatis. It was 8-6, so Skylar gets a game on his side and breaking the balls in game number 16. And of course, Skylar will be on that team, but he can do all himself and everyone on that team a lot of favors by qualifying through points versus the automatic bid as a playing captain. Another thin hit on the 1 here. Not sure if that's by design. I mean, didn't really go after him too much, so you didn't figure maybe not too much of a miss hit on the cue ball. Looks like a safety playing the 2 below, bringing the cue ball back by the 8. Now he's going to play behind the 5, trying to contain the 2 as well, not to leave the jump.
Just one footnote on Woodward. If he were to lose that match, he would go into losers qualification. And what a tough task would await him there. Max Lechner.
Yeah, especially Max stumbling a bit early in the match against Darren today. Kind of got it together, so that'll help him later on, no matter who he faces. And you just got to feel like there's going to be some qualification matches, or many qualification matches now, that just have a different complexion than they did last year.
Hot off the presses, Jason Shaw is through. From 7-7, he pulled away to beat Besar Spahiu 9-7.
Yeah, hats off to Besar, though, a very improved player, and I think we started to see it last year at that World Cup. He was down 4-0 or 5-0 in that match before really making a match of it.
Well, it's called 9-ball, but you don't want to hit the 9-ball when the 2 is on. And look at this table. Raga will be salivating. Ball in hand here.
Yeah, he's just got to make sure he can reach this first shot. He can play easily off the 3 to come around for the pink in the same corner. Should roll forward a bit here. David Alcady and Gary Wilson tied at 7 apiece. Daniel Mascio and BJ Usry. Mascio 5-4 lead. Just watch out for BJ. He's a player that's going to get more comfortable out here the more he plays it, and I think he's scheduled to play most of the tournaments this year, if not all of them. You think Claudio Caccia is turning the corner? I tell you, he's looked pretty solid in this event so far. Not really any threatening scores.
Yes, and of course the emergence of Claudio Caccia isn't the best news for a player we've just been talking about, Besar Spahiu, because when the World Cup comes around again, it seems to me as though the two Caccia brothers might be as one in a team, and Spahiu could be on the outside looking in.
Yeah, very similar to Team Austria. A little different complexion, of course, with a younger player coming in like Claudio and somewhat of a veteran in Besar, who's starting to play his best pool. But of course, Eklund's going to be on that team. So, I don't think Besar would be the most upset if Claudio got that spot, just knowing how great the kid's starting to play.
Yes, and bear in mind, there's no guarantee that's going to transpire. It's just a possibility.
Yeah, absolutely. I like what he did here, really just playing it how he normally would, not running for the side on the green 6. Fell a little off angle here. Just going to pinch the cue ball back, I believe, unless there's more angle than what it appears. Not the type of shot you really want to kind of slam stun it to the rail.
With Raga, when he gets under pressure in a tight match, I have noticed quite a lot of movements there, but not in evidence so far here. Of course, very early days, and he's in total control, it seems. Slight indication that the head came up, but we'll give him a free pass on that, because after breaking and running in the first rack, he lays an effective hook in the second, and from Anggito's misjudgment, Raga runs out again, 2-0. So let me give you the very latest from this winners' qualification round. Jeffrey Ignacio still waiting for victory over Niels Fine at 8-5. We know about Lukatos against Woodward, 8-7. Clint Iansen now 8-5 up on Mario He. What a result that would be for the Brit. Duong Quoc Hoang finding it difficult to shake off Petri Makinen, 8-7 now to the Vietnamese number 1. Daniel Maciel 5-4 over BJ Ussery, 7-7 Gary Wilson and David Al-Kadi. Abdullah Al-Yusuf 7-2 on Sam Henderson. Alexa Pachel, she's already through. Ko Pin-Yi, Nicholas Doar, the unknown from Germany. Naoki Oi's made his way through as well. Ko Ping Chung. And I'll give you the other scores at the end of this rack. But I must ask Jeremy, before we get into this, Nicholas Doar, have you heard of him before?
Not really, Phil. I mean, each time, of course, in Fulda, we were so impressed with the German players that we didn't know. But I'll tell you, he had a nice win yesterday on the TV table over Darren Appleton, I believe it was. And, yeah, the Germans keep pushing out good quality players. I'll tell you, though, a subject we talked about a moment ago with, I believe it was Albania, but we talked about England as well, as that World Cup. And I don't know Clint Iansen, but the wins he's had cannot be flukes. I mean, this is like he's trying to get Mario He as another feather in the cap, as you might say, but he's already had some quality wins in this event. Don't know the man at all. I'm not sure if you do, but
no, I don't.
Yeah, I'd like to put my eyes on him, I tell you, and I think we're gonna, the more we're seeing him here, up 8-5 over Mario He. All right, so it hasn't been the best for Alvin at the moment. He's had a kick shot is all, and now a missed safety here on a push out. He's going to get a nice starter here to get going.
Indonesia is such a massive country. The capital city, Jakarta, a huge urban conurbation. It's one of the most heavily populated countries in the world. And if they were to produce a world-class pool player, I'll tell you what, they would be wildly popular. And maybe Anggito has got the potential.
Yeah, it seems to be, of course, a young man, and I think it was me and Michael that talked about it yesterday, that Indonesia, the 4th largest country in the world. I did not know that.
Yeah, in terms of population.
Right. But again, all those types of countries that are, you know, a little behind in the sporting world, they're always looking for something to support, and pool sounds like something that would fit right in. Of course, they already have a lot of events. Some, you know, they've had exhibitions, challenge matches, different things throughout the years there in Indonesia. So pool is played for sure.
Yes, and Indonesia has been represented in the past in the World Cup of Pool.
Got into that a bit much, so he's got to pay attention here on the brown 7. I think it's 8-8. Just guessing the way Skylar's addressing. I think he's breaking the balls is what it looks like to me. Between Skylar Woodward and Lucatis.
Yes, our scoring is very quick to update, but it's not instantaneous. So we're always on the edge of our seats. After being confined to his seat for the vast majority of the first 2 racks, this is a pretty good run out from Anggito. Raga missed, Anggito took advantage. You were correct in your assumption, Jeremy. Woodward and Lucatos have gone hill-hill. So too Duong Kwok Wang and Petri Makinen. Tell you about Makinen, if you've not seen him play before, he's a very useful sort. He was always considered the number 2 in the Finnish team, but I always thought he played a very big role in their success in the World Cup, and he's got a very good break.
Yeah, well, he took a little time off, it seemed like, after pandemic, and right before pandemic, he was really starting to shine. I thought, always saw him play at the U.S. Open, always very tough in tough conditions, and always keep an eye on him, watched him play here, and he's really kind of dismantled his opponents so far. Of course, a tough one here with Wang at hill-hill.
Early doors, 4 giants of the game, 2-0 up. Eklund Kachi over Mickey Kraus. Joshua Fuller over Liu Riteng. Carlo Biardo over Phuong Nam Pham. And Fedor Gorst over Jan van Leerup.
Yeah, much better break off it seemed than his opponent as far as the hit on the one. A very good opening here in game number 4. A little awkward cueing over the pink. I want to draw this a little bit, 3 or 4 inches, I think, unless he's going to play, I guess, a 3-5 combination here. Probably wants to draw behind the 3. Sweet cueing there, Phil, I'll tell you. Just really fluid through the ball.
Yeah, given where he's from, given these clear abilities, and given the fact he's on a upwardly mobile trajectory even, I think it's fair to say that even if he doesn't crack the top 100 in the World 9-ball rankings before Saudi Arabia, there's a good chance he'll be there representing Indonesia. But we can't overstate just what a massive tournament the World 9-ball Championship will be this year in Jeddah. It's a terrific hall where the event is being played. And the prize money, well, it's life-changing for the champion.
Yeah, absolutely, and what will certainly carry you into maybe the highest-ranked player in the world, who knows? The Mosconi team, of course, maybe the Reyes Cup, sponsorship deals, and again, being that first champion there in Saudi Arabia of a setting that may change pool in quite so many ways.
It's a 10-year deal. I was lucky enough to be at the Riyadh Season World Masters of Snooker back in early March. Ronnie O'Sullivan won it, played very nicely in the final. And the atmosphere that night was wonderful. A few expats out there from Great Britain and from the rest of Europe, but the vast majority of the crowd were from Saudi Arabia, loving the fact that world-class Q Sports was there. I'm sure that's going to be the case with the 9-ball championship as well. And talking of 9-balls, oh dear me, what a miss from Alvin Anggito. Okay, the cue ball was a little too close to the side cushion for comfort, but really that's a lame excuse.
Yeah, especially after such a nice clearance in the previous rack and this one leading up to that missed 9-ball. It looks like Skylar Woodward has got the W. So he'll advance through qualification. Lucatis has got to get on to another win to qualify. Cross-side bank here.
There we were going into the anecdote about the World 9-ball Championship and what it all means, and how rude of Alvin Anggito to stop the narrative by missing that 9-ball. And I tell you what, that could be a really hurtful turning point for him. Anton Raga 3-1 ahead, when for all intents and purposes it was going to be 2-2. Jeffrey Ignacio, who's right on the bubble in terms of qualifying for Saudi Arabia as the world number 100. Well, he's had a fine win over Neil Svein by 9 racks to 6. So he goes into the pot for the last 64 tomorrow. And Clint Iansen has beaten Mario He 9-6. Well done to him.
Yeah, I don't even know really what the man looks like. I like to get my eyes on him, and tell you what, like I said before, and you know, maybe Britain has to think about a possible different player in that World Cup to join Jason Shaw, or what we think should be Jason Shaw.
And just official confirmation on our live scores: Skylar Woodward has survived a very nail-biting match against Dimitris Lukatos, 9-8. So his day is over in terms of competition. He can relax.
Yeah, now the Mosconi captain, though, so probably going to be out in the mix. I think Shane Wolford, Billy Thorpe both have to win a match to get into that qualification. There's going to be some other Americans if they happen to lose. BJ Usry's down at the moment, 6-4, so without a comeback, they'll have to go through the losers qualification as well. Oscar Dominguez playing so solidly. He's going to start his winners qualification here shortly, I believe.
Yes, he'll be on table 17 against Mieszko Fortunski, the butcher.
Big shot here, I think, on the red 3 after missing that 9. This shot really opens up the rack. Seems pretty straightforward, but nothing the case really. I'm surprised he really fired the ball in. Not saying you want to baby it, but he could have had a little less speed.
Notable result on the one-loss side for Tommy Donlan, a real veteran. He's been around forever on the UK scene. He beat John Morrow 8-5.
Keeping things very simple, but very effective as well. It's going to be a difficult hit. He may go to the air. Can swerve the ball around the purple and get at the red 3. Wants a little speed on it though. So now going to the short cue, it appears.
The second time in escaping from a hook. All he succeeded in doing is hitting the 9. It cost him rack 2. What about this one?
Yeah, caught a piece of the 5, then on to the 9, serving up ball in hand. Little touchy shot with ball in hand here. Anytime you're in this position here, you want to get position as quick as possible, and that should be up the right side rail going by the brown 7. He's got a bit more space than it appears, as long as he doesn't try to get close to the pink. I don't know about that. Yeah, he didn't really slide up the rail much. And I don't think he's completely snookered, but definitely no play to make the ball in the upper left. Now he's got to kind of pull this ball a little bit. Yeah. Oh, he played. I don't think he played to make that at all. It was always about the safety and maybe a little frustration after getting snookered with ball in hand.
Hoisted by his own petard here.
Didn't get to really watch Copigny and chew it. Copigny just must have put on a clinic.
Considering we've seen so many players struggle on these pockets, it was like watching something completely different. As again, contact is made with that 9 ball.
Yeah, we've had 3 fouls with the jump cue, not something you're going to see very often. And now, a little easier to forget about a couple of mistakes with ball in hand and can trim this score. It seems like it's been a lot of Raga, but just a few balls away from 3-2.
The size of the pockets, the cut of the pockets, immaterial in this kind of instance. This is the kind of chance at this level, the very highest level, you simply have to take.
Yeah, some other one loss side guys trying to survive. So Shaw playing well. Hill with Bernie Regulario. That's 7 apiece. That's a race to 8. They're trying to get into the losers qualification. Caught that a little heavy. I think he was really trying to come for the side. You normally wouldn't come 2 rails for the corner, kind of like that, coming into position so tightly. So it's just got to keep focused. Pretty easy shot here.
one 9-ball missed by Anggito, but not that one. And so the gap closes to 3-2. I can tell you, those who say winning is a habit are correct. Duong Kwa Kwang on that golden run after winning in Scotland. He has beaten Petri Mäkinen by the odd rack in 17, 9-8. Also close on table 12, Daniel Masseol, 6-5 now against BJ Ussuri. On table 17, they've gone hill-hill, Gary Wilson and David Al-Kadi. Oliver Sholnocki 7-3 over Hui Truang An. Fedor Gorst 2-1 now over Jan van Leerup. Robbie Capito drawing first blood against Jonas Suter Camino. Same thing for Anthony Brabin over Daniel Guttenberger. Victor Zielinski and Lucas Fracasso Werner 1-1. Carlo Biardo powering ahead against Phuang Nam Pham 5-0. So too Joshua Filler 4-0 up on Liu Ri Teng. That's all winners qualification.
Looks very repeatable, this break shot from Alvin, and not so much really from Anton Raga's end. It's a nice rack to get started on, really just maintain focus. 2 plays in the corner, the red 3 near. You can see the pink 4 and the purple 5 on the bottom. Definitely some work and a very demanding table, maybe the most demanding we've seen on the World 9-Ball Tour. Now it's gotten out of line on the first shot. Shouldn't be too much of a problem. Can go forward for short side on the pink. Looks like SVB's in action as well.
Yeah, just starting out on table 4 against Lo Ho Sum.
Okay, he's going to try and go one rail between the 7-9, I believe, anyways. Like to stay away from the side spin, and the camera's fooling us a little bit. There's a hair more angle on this, so coming one rail to the right side of the green 6 shouldn't be a problem. Kind of shot it's easy to underhit for some reason. Got there nicely. Like I said, very doable out, but also got a little out of line here and there, so it'll be a nice gritty one to get out here and tie the match at 3 apiece. And he's breaking the balls very well. So I think a dangerous customer for Anton Raga here in winner's qualification.
You occasionally see these 9 balls missed. Still a big favourite, but there is just a grain of doubt. Never touched the sides. Alvin Anggito back on level terms at 3-3. Now, when it comes to the debate about the transition from snooker to pool and who is the best snooker player on the World 9-Ball Tour, I think the debate now is well and truly put to bed. It's got to be Gary Wilson. And further evidence, if any were required, of how he's made that transition. He's beaten David Al-Kaidi by 9 racks to 8. What a performance, Jeremy.
Yeah, absolutely, especially Al-Kaidi played a real solid one yesterday. In an earlier round match. But Gary, yeah, Gary's, I think, put more time in maybe. I think he loves it. I think the other guys truly love it also. But I think he really sees a future for himself. You know, of course, mixing it between the snooker and the World 9-Ball Tour, but also probably pretty pumped for Saudi himself.
And also, we were talking about the GB team for the World Cup. What about Gary Wilson?
Well, I mean, I think probably he's on the forefront of it. I mean, how could you not say that at the moment anyways that he shouldn't be the guy picked to play with Jason Shaw? Tell you what, this is a pretty consistent break off from Alvin over and over, and this could get very much a headache for Anton Raga. Remember the missed position with ball in hand at 3-1. Just, you know, wasn't very difficult at all. A little demanding with the cue ball, but something he should have handled for sure. And now it's been nothing but fits ever since. Funny shot here on the blue 2. Looks like he almost has to go into the 9. He plays it in the left middle. Thing about the 9, and of course it being near the spot, it creates a lot of trouble when you're trying to work the cue ball up and down the table, and also it creates a lot of scratches if you do contact that 9 ball. So he's going to play this in the corner instead, looks like. Maybe not.
Our next match on the main table will be our 4th of the day, and it will be losers side pool. Imran Majid against Billy Thorpe. The head drops, but the ball didn't. When they catch that much of the pocket, they will remain above ground.
Yeah, he's got a compact style, right? And anytime you're very compact, it's easy to be a little quick with the stroke. Just you don't allow, you know, the fluid to be there as much, just because the length of the stroke isn't there quite as much. It's kind of like Jason, who's super fluid, but occasionally can get a little quick with it. Been super impressed with Alvin, his real cueing and overall stroke. I caught the rail first there. This is going to open up for a shot, though. Bit of a roll. You just look at the winners' qualification score lines, and of course, a few of them are a little lopsided, but for the most part, you can tell everything's heating up. So many close scores. get a little awkward on the green 6. Good thing for Alvin. The brown 7 pretty playable in the right middle.
Caught that thinner than intended.
Wow, he's playing this to the left. A little surprising considering the brown pretty playable. Much more open pocket to the right. Nice hit though. So many names we go through at these tournaments over the last few years that, you know, kind of become hot and cold in our mind, but Robbie Capito kind of going on about his business, up 3-0 over Camino Pseudo Camino, excuse me.
Anton Raga made the better start, 2-0 up, 3-1 up. But for the first time, Alvin Anggito goes ahead at 4-3. Table 12, Daniel Maciol and BJ Usuri, 6-6. Usuri just winning rack 12 there. Oliver Sholnocki, 7-4 over Bui Truong An. Fedor Gorst won the first 2 against Jan van Leerup. It's now all square at 2-2. Daniel Guttenberger 1-1 with Anthony Braben. Victor Selinski 2-1 over Lucas Fracasso Werner. 7-0 for Carlo Biardo against Phuong Nam Pham. The big guns are firing. Joshua Fuller 6-0 up on Liu Riteng. Piers Labutis has won the first 2 racks against James Aranas. Aloysius Yap 3-1 on Lu Wei Chan. And Eklund Kachi and Mickey Kraus are all level at 2-2. Kachi, the defending champion, of course. Wu Kun Lin has taken the first rack from Tyler Steyer. Shane Van Boning 2-0 up on Lo Ho Sun.
Well, and Anton didn't look at that for very long at all. And, you know, when a player pushes out, you know they have something in mind. So you want to try and figure out what that is. Only a little bit at the bottom of the cue ball here, but enough, I think, to maybe dig on this, kind of 2-railing the blue 2 to the right of the red 3 back down and putting the cue ball in the back of the 6. Interesting pass to me. Not so much the pass itself, but how quickly he gave it up. Watch out for the kiss in the middle of the table. He's trying to swing the cue ball. Oh, he went for the make. Wow.
That was left field.
Yeah, I didn't expect that. I love seeing it, though. Really sweet stroke and even better shot, but guess try to get a little more out of the cue ball. Now should drop the cue ball a couple rails below the pink. Pretty big margin for error here. I'd be upset missing the mark. Trying to come down the left. A little awkward, not the easiest of plays. Easy, yeah, I was gonna say, there's, with so much congestion there, I think there were some easier shots to maybe try and pull off, but I think Anton needs a little step away from the table when he gets a chance, a little break, get a breath of fresh air.
Because he is excitable, we said that before, full of energy.
fairly routine here. Pink into the brown and run the cue ball 2 rails up, I think anyways. I think he's going to do something different. He's going to bank the pink back up and come 2 rails behind the green 6 and black 8. A little more devastating snooker if he feels comfortable with it. Looks pretty natural as well. Key here is don't baby it. You got a ton of room. Yeah, he let up on it. Didn't get the snooker. Got a ton of room with the 6, 8, and 5 there. So unforced error from Alvin.
One of those matches, as yet no discernible pattern. But the one thing I will say is that Raga has become more and more prone to moving as the stakes are rising. He's a little more nervy, a little more jittery, fidgety.
Yeah, and I think he's lost a touch of confidence, really. It's almost like as soon as he left the cue stick, the cue ball left, it's like he, nice shot there. Really nice. Is it enough speed to get by these balls for some look at the purple? He's got something, I think. But it's almost like he knew the miss was there already, looking to see if he was going to get safe or not. I wouldn't say he got safe. He left a tough one. Alvin handled it. Now a tougher one coming. Can't tell if he's shooting at this or not. Not a whole lot of safeties here, yeah. Okay, nice play. May not get the complete snooker, but I think a pretty smart shot.
The 9, 8 and 6 providing quite a barricade there. I think he'll be a little disappointed the fact he's not nailed Raga in a little more trouble.
There's that movement. As soon as he's releasing the cue stick now, it seems to be moving. Maybe even a hair before.
It was more than a hair, wasn't it? It was absolutely obvious that he's feeling this. The shoulders going into the shot and inaccuracy follows.
Oh, nice cue ball control there, just sliding by. I think the 6 does squeeze. Talked about it a lot this week. You know, there's players that, you know, Anton plays a lot of those longer matches there in the Philippines, and of course gets to settle in, almost knows he's going to settle in, to where when you play those long matches, a lot of those players, they don't really care how they start so much, knowing that in time they're going to settle in and run a lot of racks no matter the pocket size or the conditions. Not so much in tournament pool. The nerves are a bit different. Very short finish line and a lot of great players you're facing, so mistakes are magnified, and then they can get a little bit mental, especially playing for so much.
Yes, to the uninitiated it might seem the opposite, but a race to 8 really is a sprint. Obviously this is race to 9 because it's on the winner's side, but even then that's a sprint.
Yeah, and I think it's really, you know, races will be talked about just like everything in formats and whatnot, but I think that's why we need the tight pockets as well. to try and expose as much as we can.
I think it's fair to say that Anton Raga, after a very bright start, is now facing something of a crisis. He was 2-0 and 3-1 ahead. He's 5-3 down at the moment and in need of turning things around. Raga's fellow countryman Bernie Regalario has come through on the one-loss side, 8-7 against So Shaw. And the youngest Cobra, the Ko Ping Han, currently involved in a deciding rack finish against Petra Urban. 7-7 there again on that one-loss side. Shane Van Boning now 3-0 on Lo Ho Sum. Joshua Filler 7-1 on Liu Riteng. Albin Aushin has taken a 2-0 lead over Georgi Georgiev. Fedor Gorsht 2-0 up, went 2-2, now he's back in front at 4-2. The American flag next to the name of Gorsht on the live scoring, and that's why I think the Mosconi Cup dynamic, okay, he was in the team last year that lost, but the Mosconi Cup dynamic going forward will be very different because of Gorsht's inclusion.
Yeah, I think there's a number of things. I think Gorsht's inclusion is the big factor, the big asterisk, as you might say, and of course everything else going on. You can see just here the Americans, what they're doing and trying to push forward. Of course, the Mosconi Cup, it's the highlight at the end of the year, but the World 9-Ball Tour has done a lot for that American team coming together, and I think you're going to see Fedor Gorsht being the leader of that team, really.
Carlo Biardo on the hill without losing a rack, leading Phuong Nam Pham 8-0.
First missed one ball, did get another down. Gonna be difficult push out though, probably some kind of two-rail kick after the push out, maybe push out by the red 3, something like that. I don't know if I would push out to this jump, I'll tell you. There's been a foul by both players on a jump shot, but he's going to take this on, and he's going to be a favorite to make it. I think this is a bit of a mistake. Just a little bit. I don't think he's ever going to pass it. Plus, you know, Raga's had, you know, some issues, right? So you give him a jump shot, he kind of can freely swing at that, knowing that, you know, sometimes you miss jumps. There's not that much pressure if you do miss it. And it could definitely get him back going. And just like he plays in his regular shots, once he gets down and in position, pulls the trigger pretty quickly.
Carlo Biardo whitewashed Phuong Nam Pham 9-0. Whenever you talk about a potential winner of a tournament, and we pick our favourites, don't we, at the start, you should always include on that list Carlo Biardo. He's just the silent assassin, just comes through tournaments smoothly and without fuss.
Yeah, he can cue the ball here. He may have to play a bit of a tricky one, trying to bank the one between the purple 5 and the red 3 and just let it do what it's going to do. You can't really control it. It's going to run into the 9, maybe the 2, and try and draw the cue ball one rail underneath, maybe the red 3, just trying to contain. I think if you get involved with controlling the cue ball and the 1 ball here, very easy to give up a very simple starter to a bit of a struggling Anton Raga. Well, I don't know. awful clip on the cue ball. I still think there was a lot going on with that shot, Phil.
Yes, it brought in unwanted possibilities, one of which has come to pass. Flicking off the green 6, scratching, and this is just the kind of chance after a period of ineffectiveness that Raga would have wished for.
Well, look at this, a good 6 inches between the 2 and 9, and he's made some mistakes. He's considering a combination on the 2-9, which is some players will play, but normally not in this spot. You know, ball in hand maybe, because you're going to get perfect on the 2-9, but not to go some 2-3 feet up the table on a difficult combination already. I think this is smart. This is what's going to get him back in stroke, is playing the rack.
Undoubtedly did the right thing there, but these guys don't just play the opponent, they play the percentages. And I think with these tight pockets, as the year progresses, we're going to see a lot more players targeting early combos.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what it's going to do, though. You know, not to take this the wrong way, any players, but it's definitely going to separate the men from the boys. And it's going to make some really improve as well, because they're going to realize they have to. Can't play with a loose cue ball with these tight pockets.
You're right. Boys is out. Call Boys.
Hats off, though, to our fellow pundit, right? Showed a lot of heart.
I was watching his matches when I wasn't commentating, and I was getting genuinely nervous. He missed the 9 ball to get on the hill. What a shame.
Yeah, I actually was walking by during that one. And it's funny how he played the 8. Now, he shouldn't have missed the 9, but as soon as I came back in the arena here before this match, he came up to me. He's like, "Do you see how I played the 8? And I didn't go to the rail." I was like, "Yeah, I was kind of curious about that." He's like, "Yeah, I couldn't believe it. And then I missed the 9. But it looked like he was having fun, and he texted me. He's like, "I can't believe how much I'm stressing just because I'm playing in the event." And I was like, "Yeah, you want to play well, you know, so it's pretty natural."
Yeah, he's really laid back. I said to him, "Did you get the bug again?" And he said, "No, because it was so stressful." But I think we will see him playing again. Why not?
Yeah, 41 years old. I mean, he should. That's for sure. Looks like we have some local kids in the room, maybe from one of the schools nearby in Telford. Group of kids getting some entertainment, a 9-ball pool from the world's best.
We suspected that outcome when the scratch occurred, and there it is. The match tightening up. Over on 12, the match is just over. Daniel Maceiol, one of many fine players from Poland, has beaten BJ Ussery 9-6. Not that many winners' qualification matches still going on. Oliver Szolnocki on the hill against Bui Truong An at 8-5. Fedor Gorst 4-3 over Jan van Leerup. Mark Bijsterbosch, he's 1-0 up on Marvin Assis. Robbie Capito 4-1 over Jonas Suter Camino. Anthony Brabin 3-1 over Daniel Guttenberger. Victor Zielinski 4-2 on Lucas Fracasso Werner. Josh Filler 7-2 now against Louis Riteng. Albin Auschen 2-1 over Georgiev. Noska Dominguez and Mieszko Fortunski have shared the first 2 racks.
Much better break off from Anton Raga there. It's been a while since we've seen one. Looks like he's going to play the safety behind 4 and the 9. Pretty tidy.
Every winner's qualification match is either underway or completed, with one exception. Table 7. Masato Yoshioka and Simon Corral are about to begin.
Yeah, it looked like Alvin was going back for the jump cue. I like him kicking at this. He's fouled on a jump already, and you can see the 3 in the upper left corner with the 4-9 tied up. So you don't want to jump and possibly open up this 9 ball. Just a medium kick here. Don't have to do much. Now he's going to open that 4-9 and get the 2 near the pocket. Nice little bump on the pink there, really cut him off. An easy kick at the blue 2. It's an easy hit, but not the kick he wanted. Still have to really think about the pink 4 being so difficult with the red 3 all the way up the table. And got to watch Oliver play this week. He's a player I love to watch. Seems like I always learn something from that kid. Zolnalki, I took a little time off the game, it seemed like, or at least from the professional side for maybe 6 months to a year, but back at it.
That was nearly calamitous. Actually, where the 2 ball is finished up.
Surprised they're not waiting on the referee here. I mean, this could get very touchy. And probably better off that he didn't make that ball. Now look how treacherous this is over the red 3.
Well, on a pool table, you can't imagine more horrid cueing than this.
Yeah, and really, I don't really see much future besides maybe bumping the 2 to the side rail, let it drop below the 9, and just try and contain using the brown 7 to hold the cue ball. Waiting on a referee just to make sure to keep an eye on that cueing. It's all ball fouls, of course. Touch anything with your shirt or your finger, of course, the cue stick is a foul.
So each referee has jurisdiction over 4 tables.
Now he's left in perfect field. Sorry, it looks like now he has an angle to tear open the pink a little bit, making things much easier. And I think that was maybe getting ahead of himself going after that one, Alvin. He was in a tough spot anyways. Pull's amazing. And goes into that ball. It travels some 5 feet off a couple cushions, gets right in the way of the red 3.
And to liberate the 4 was, of course, the right shot. He couldn't really legislate for that, could he? Mind you, where the 3 is, any kind of contact will see it in.
Yeah, Yeah, it's always brutal to swerve, easy to over swerve and follow it in. Oh, beauty. That's all feel. It's something you don't practice very often. Pretty routine here, and kind of what I saw Roland do a little bit yesterday. Maybe overthink it, trying to make things a little too easy, thinking about the 9 ball right now. It's out a little bit of space, but not really a worry.
For the second time, it looks as though this match will be level. It is. It was 3-3, now it's 5-5. Good stuff. Just what we expected, a keenly contested affair. So too, over on table 2. You can see that, of course, on the Matchroom Multisport YouTube channel. Fedor Gorst and Jan van Leeuwen. 4-4. Gorst twice has taken a 2-rack lead at 2-0 and 4-2. Jan van Leeuwen refusing to bow out meekly, or lose the match meekly at least, because he will, even if he loses, go into the losers qualification a little later. Marvin Assis 2-1 on Mark Bosch. Anthony Brabin 4-1 over Daniel Guttenberger. 4-2 for Robbie Capito over Jonas Suto Camino. Victor Zielinski with bags of talent. He's halfway to victory. 5-2 upon Lucas Fracasso Werner.
Yeah, thin hit on the 1 there like he did early. Got a great shot on the blue 2. Player I think is coming into his own now. A 5-4 lead. Mickey Kraus over Eklund Kachi. Kachi had an early lead there. Labuda's still doing his thing. 5-0 over James Aranis. Look at the 3-9 combo. We're waiting here in game 11 to get back in the lead.
Jeremy spotted it. Anton Raga knocked it in. Indeed, that was the swiftest rack we've had. And from 5-3 down, and in my opinion, looking susceptible to defeat. He's turning things around. Shane Van Boning, most certainly not susceptible. He's 6-1 up on Low Ho Sum. Tyler Steyer 3-1 down to Woo Kun Lin, semi-finalist in the World 9-Ball Championship last year. Simon Corral has taken the first rack from Masato Yoshioka. As Jeremy said, the defending champion wobbling a little against Mickey Kraus. 5-4 down, Eklund Kachi. Aloysius Yap, who I think always cues so well. He's 4-3 up on Liu Wei Chan.
Watch the cue ball. It's going to be okay. Not sure what he's going to get at the blue 2. And, you know, Kachi again down 5-4. And I just see these other players starting to get better. And, you know, Van Leeuwen, for instance, he's a player that seems like he's always in contention with the tough matches, whether he wins them or loses them. And has a lot of confidence in himself. And I say confidence in himself because I never see him hanging out with another player. He's always just traveling with his parents.
Yeah, always has two spectators right next to the table. As you say, his parents. Can tell you, Oliver Sholnocki, our latest winner, 9-5 over Bui Trong An.
All right, going for the safety, 2 below the 9, and a little light with the cue ball. And that's 2 settled near the rail, making things much more touchy, but that ball had gotten up a couple inches. Probably a decent return safety here for Alvin, but now very tricky. Use the 6 more as you bank the 2 back down, more than the 5. Yeah, I like that. Very good look. Very well done.
You were talking about all of the money matches he's played over the years. Raga over an extended distance. I'm going to ask you a question at the end of this rack, Jeremy. I'll give you the preview. What's the lengthiest match you've ever known? Personal experience comes into it if you want. You can tell me about it all at the end of this rack. The lengthiest contest you've ever known or heard about, or maybe even been involved in.
I think he's got to take it into his own hands. A tough pot in the upper left on the blue 2, but I think he's supposed to shoot here. Again, we talk about it, you got to play to win when you're on the fence, I think, rather than play not to lose. Does play, does go by the 8 for a 2 rail position on the red 3. He's got to ease it a bit. Yeah, really nice shot. Cue ball's got to slow down a little. Don't want to make a nice one and not get the reward. And all that was possibly pocketing the 2 to the upper left part of the corner. That'll promote a little more cue ball movement. Should bury him behind the pink here.
Another roll that would have dropped. Half a roll, maybe.
It looks like half the 3 sitting inside the jaws. I mean, if you just look at the equator from the top side of it, right? Looks like more than half the 3's inside the pocket. Of course, deep shelves here on these diamonds. That's what makes them really that tough. This type of shot, when you're cueing like this, you could make it and scratch in the corner. Happens every now and again.
What a shot. What an absolute thing of beauty, because the tolerance to get past that green 6 ball was tiny. Brilliant.
Yeah, watch the bend. Yeah, you see it just about after it came off the first rail, as it was passing the 9, took a little English. So he's got to leave this great one behind, Phil. Make another big one here on the pink.
Can you believe it? From the sublime, not quite to the ridiculous, but it was brilliance and then a blunder.
Yeah, kind of came across the ball with the stroke. Not terribly or anything, but it's going to be disappointing. There's been a few of those misses. That one was definitely missable, but it's one you'd figure Raga to get down. What a big moment to go up 7-5 in this race to 9.
I think in terms of pure potting, Anggito has been the more reliable of the 2.
Yeah, absolutely. He had one miss on the red 3. I think he shot it too hard, basically making the pocket much smaller, but overall been pretty solid in the ball pocketing department. James Arana's got on the board, trails 5-1 with Labutis.
The positioning of the 9 ball was just enough to make that something of a hindrance, but he coped well. Well, how about that? Anton Raga can put one shot in that rack on a highlight reel, but he can't put the rack on the board. Instead, Anggito back on level terms at 6-6. Okay then, Jeremy. Lengthiest match you've ever known?
Well, the one that comes to mind was Dennis Okulo and SVB. I believe it was a race to 125 games. Could have been 130. And it went hill. How you like that? Shane had like a 20-game lead, I think day 3, the final day, and Dennis just overcame it and caught him and beat him on the hill.
In a match like that, it should be called Mountain.
That wasn't that long ago either. That was probably 4 years ago or so, 5 years ago. So very consistent break off here from Alvin.
Well, in snooker, in the 1950s, of course, they couldn't rely on sponsorship money or TV money. So the World Championship had to be played over very lengthy distances because the only money for the players came from people coming into the arena to watch. And so the World Championship final was the best of 145 frames. Lasted 2 weeks.
And what year was this? In the 50s?
In the 50s, yeah.
About to say probably all the 50s. Best of 145 frames.
And here's the kick. In all of the World Championship matches, because again it all depended on the paying public and you couldn't have sessions off, if someone won very convincingly, the other player had to play out the dead frames even though he'd lost. One guy lost 37-1 and had to carry on.
Well, snooker's had its history, I'll tell you. Of course, when you go through so much change in society and whatnot, sports keeps up with it. Oh, wow. That one kicked a little bit. I don't know. I think it kind of helped him, to be honest. Usually when you kick, the ball pulls in the same direction as the cue ball, and he overcut that to the left, so. Awkward here still. Where's he go for the 6? Watch the little slide on the red 3. Yeah, you can see it right there, and you can see him point at it. Looks like he's in a good position to maybe stop the cue ball, maybe pinch it back an inch. Play the purple in the lower left. This is going to be all speed control here. And I'll tell you, to me, it looks like Alvin's enjoying the moment. Very much so, where maybe Raga's really stressing a bit. Still not out of the woods. He's got to ease this a bit. And the reason being is doesn't want to get above the 7 where he's going into the 9 with the cue ball with the 8 all the way back down table. Oh, not easing it. Caught it a little thick.
I was slightly out with my snooker history. Of course, the 145 frame matches were in the late 40s, but what's a decade between friends?
Well, Davis, right? Those are the brothers, Fred Davis, and what was the other one's name? Joe?
Yeah, Joe was undefeated from 27 to 46, and then he retired from the World Championship without ever losing in it.
Well, that undoubtedly all happened in the UK. That's where we're at for this UK Open, the 3rd edition. It's changed to Telford, and I'll tell you, I was very happy in that Olympic area right there at Stratford, but I've been very impressed with Telford. Hadn't got to see quite as much of it as we have in the past in the UK, but love the facility. The venue's awesome. Restaurants near. It's been awesome weather.
You're very lucky. Until this week, we've had the worst spring in terms of rain I can ever remember.
Well, back home, we live in kind of like Tornado Alley, and where the warm air meets the cold air and creates a lot of bad storms in the spring. The last 2 years, it's kind of taken its time off, but this year's been pretty wet, a lot of hail. But again, here in Telford, the last few days has been really beautiful, and now a 9-ball for a 7-6 lead.
Yes, it was simple, straightforward if you like, but Anton Raga kept pretty still on that one. That's always a good sign with him, and he's gone back in front at 7-6. 2 more needed. In terms of getting through winners' qualification, no sweat now for Joshua Filler. He's there, a 9-3 winner over Liu Riteng. Shane Van Boening absolutely cruising against Low Ho Sum from Hong Kong. Van Boening on the hill at 8-1. Much more competitive between Tyler Steyer and Woo Kun Lin, 3-3. Simon Corral of Poland, 2-0 up on Masato Yoshioka. Title holder Eklund Kachi and Mickey Kraus, 5-5. Aloysius Schaap, 6-3 on Liu Wei Chan. Piers Labutis, 5-1 over James Arenas. Oscar Dominguez and Mieszko Fortunski have shared the first 4 racks. Albin Auschen, 4-2 up on Georgi Georgiev. And Fedor Gorst has just gone back in front against Jan van Leeuwen at 5-4.
Yeah, we got some round three losers going as well, trying to get to that winner's qualification, and we were told that it's actually 6-4 for Fedor Gorst.
Yeah, just went 2 ahead as I was talking, and the scoreboard hasn't updated yet, but that is definitely the case. Gorst 6-4, 3 more needed.
And if he's trying to come back on this 3-ball right here, this isn't as easy as it looks. He might be going on the 8. Yeah, trying to just get the simple snooker.
Just a reminder, coming up next, it is the UK against the USA. Imran Majid against Billy Thorpe. Thorpe, who had a very fine win and a very fine performance, I'm hearing, against Sanyan Pilovanovic earlier today.
I think this is going to open. It's very, very close.
Mid-table collisions often cause problems. That one might have helped, although, is there a gap?
No, I don't think there's any gap, and it's really a tough kick shot to come 2 rails at. It's there, though. That would be the right side rail between the red 3 and the purple 5, and then come 2 cushions at the blue 2. Here you got to go with whatever you feel best hitting the ball. I think crucial moments here at 7-6 in this race to 9. It looks short to me. No, it's going to be okay. It's going to give up a shot. The blue 2 does squeeze by the pink, I believe.
Little bit of shoulder in that one. Missing the 5 ball was paramount.
Yeah, he definitely underhit it a bit. Didn't want this much angle, but should be okay. Problem is he's got to kind of kill the ball a little bit. Being the right-hander, can he come out to the center of the table, or does he have to kill it and maybe get over the 7 and 8, queuing for the 6? Well, he came inside it. That's a smart play right there, and let the cue ball open off of 2 cushions. You can see, though, very on edge. Should come 3 rails somewhat in position where the cue ball's at now.
Anton Raga, money player extraordinaire. He knows when the chips are down what to do, and for the first time since 3-1, he's a couple of racks ahead at 8-6 on the hill. Very different mindset though, Jeremy, to playing money matches to playing in tournament play, because if you lose money, clearly that's not what you want to do, but there might be some more in the pocket, whereas if you lose a match in a tournament and it's on the other side of the draw and you're out, there's no way back. No amount of money can buy you back in. It's not the Derby City Classic.
No, not at all. And you know, you do get 2 losses in early rounds, but once we get to the qualification, it's single elimination. But yeah, the mindset's different. You want a mix of it. You want to be able to try and stay as loose as possible. That's really what wins the tournaments. But it takes a while to kind of form all that, I think. And I know me, I was more of a action guy for a while and probably should have started to play professional pool a little earlier. But my first year, I won 1 match, I think, in 7 tournaments. And I lost to players that, of course, were champions. But I also lost to some that I beat in the back room. playing some of those action matches. So it was all about getting your nerves and your mind right. But definitely, I think shot selection can vary as well, just because you only have that one bullet and one barrel, as you say, in tournament pool. Pretty good effort there.
Mind you, there is the flip side of the coin. The old quote about real pressure is when you're playing for $10 and you only got $5 in your pocket.
Yeah, I think that's Lee Trevino, right? Said that, something like that. But yeah, but again, that's what also makes you great a little bit. Of course, understanding you got to. Talked about it with some buddies the other day. They were asking me about being on the road. You know, sometimes you got to drive 1,000 miles home with after going broke. So do a lot of thinking about maybe where your mistakes were. Oh, big missed kick shot there. It's a ball in hand to advance into the single elimination.
Anton Raga has not pulled up any trees in this match. Clearly, in his first 2 matches, that was also the case. He lost 5 and 6 racks in those respectively. But sometimes with these lengthy tournaments where you have to win so many matches, maybe it's best not to produce brilliance right at the start, build into it. Just get through. That's the overriding priority. And he's got a wonderful chance to do that here.
No, I think that's also why we've seen a lot of close matches, but then again, a few runaways as well. I think the players are, all players really are taking a little time getting used to this tough equipment. And of course, knowing how big all these tournaments are. Talked about it last year, a little bit the year before. You can just tell how much more everyone wants it.
Raga's nervousness around the table tells you how much he wants it. He was so disappointed after losing in that 25th and final rack in the European Open final to David Al-Kaidi. He's 39th in the World 9-Ball Tour rankings right now, but of course should go higher.
And, you know, we could easily say we don't feel like he's 39th in the world, but I tell you, these rankings are going to become very accurate, or even more accurate as we go each day. And I think there's a lot of players catching up. I really do. So you got to prove yourself out here on the World 9-Ball Tour. No cupcakes, no giveaways. You got to earn these matches. Starting to look a little more settled.
Look where the Q-tip is. Played that with running side to widen the angle off 2 cushions for the 7-ball, and as soon as it went in, you saw the light go on in the eyes. He realizes the job should be done. Not that he'll take anything for granted, but this was the big shot. Lots of running side. And the bounce off that bottom cushion gives him the angle on the 7 as well. (7-4) Gorsh, by the way, over Jan van Leerup. He's won 3 on the trot. 1. 9 ball has been missed in this match by Alvin Anggito. A ball he should have knocked in. Raga should knock this one in, but there was pressure, that's why he took his time, quite correctly. So Anton Raga, the smile returns to his face. He defeats Alvin Anggito of Indonesia by 9 racks to 6. That means he takes his place in the last 64 tomorrow. Anggito could still be there, but first he will have to negotiate losers qualification against the UK's Tommy Donlan. 9-6 to Raga. Next up, it is Imran Majid against Billy Thorpe.
I'd have loved to have seen America versus the Philippines, Europe versus the Philippines.
And I think there will be the winner of the Moscone against Asia or against the Philippines at some stage. There's a different tournament.
There's definitely something on another event to do with Asia versus the Moscone Cup winner. And that's all part of the